Hi there, this is Catherine with Enfolded Heart Music. I've decided to make an updated version of my welcome video because the old one is now outdated. There's some information that's incorrect in there, and also there's some new stuff now that I want to make sure to be a part of my welcoming to you for this channel. So this video is going to be a little bit longer than the last one, but I think it's all important and all part of a big welcome to anyone visiting the work that I do here. So I'm going to first just briefly go over what is on this channel, what can you find here, and how is it organized. The second is about what you can find elsewhere and through my home website and other sites that are linked through there. And then the third is just a little bit about myself, my background, how I got into these instruments, and a little bit about the name Enfolded Heart Music and what that means and why I decided to use that. So the first is just the question, well, what can I find on your channel? I've organized my homepage very recently into three main categories. The first I've just entitled instrument videos, and you'll find three different instruments, myself playing all three of those. All the songs are original compositions, and you can find piano, lyre, and the low or high or tin, sometimes called a tin whistle. So those three. The main one is going to be the lyre. You'll find, again, original compositions for the lyre. You'll also find some that are singing the Psalms, and I'm hoping to do some other scripture as well, but I want to get through the Psalms first, and there's a lot of those. So the Psalms, and then just other non-scriptural, non-lyrical music for the lyre. With the piano, right now, all that's improvisation. I really enjoy doing improvisation and doing that particularly for prayer. So you'll see myself doing that. And then the third is with the low whistle, and then some with the low whistle and the tin whistle. Those are also original compositions that you're welcome to listen to. I've decided to put these as a big bulk of the content on this channel because personally I love watching people play instruments. I think that the way that they work and the cooperation between the person and the instrument is just so beautiful, and the way that inspiration is just filtered through that instrument and expressed through the instrument, I just think is so delightful, and I love watching how that works. So that's why I've decided to include that alongside some other videos that are more oriented towards prayer in particular, and in a little bit of a different way. So those are the three instruments that you'll be able to find on here. That's in the first section. Each of those are playlists, so you can click on that and see all the videos that I have available. It will be updated every time I add a video to those. The second area of content on here are lyre tutorial videos. So the lyre is the main instrument that I play in the regards to original compositions and such. I just really, really love it. And there's also not as many channels that do tutorials for the lyre. There are two in particular that I would highly recommend. I've linked those below in my recommended channels, so check those out. Those actually focus more on teaching than I do, so I recommend those all the time, and they're wonderful people. So I recommend those if you're just getting started with the lyre. But for myself, there's two different kinds of tutorial videos that you'll find. You'll find general tutorials, which talk about things like improvisation or composition, also things like, wearing a strap, and different kind of general recommendations for the lyre that I haven't really seen elsewhere, or in response to questions that I get frequently. So that's one category. The other category are walkthrough tutorials, and this is where I have a song that I've written and have posted before, and I go step by step for someone who's wanting to learn how to play that particular song. So if you're listening to a lyre video and you think, oh my goodness, I'd love to play that song, to learn that song, check in the description to see if there is a link to a tutorial for that particular song, and that might be a helpful way for you to walk through it and learn it on your own so you can play it for others as well. If there's a video where there's not a tutorial, a lyre video in particular, but you'd like to learn it and like to have a walkthrough tutorial, you're welcome to leave a comment or send me an email expressing that desire, and I'd be happy to take that into consideration and put that as part of what I plan to do and how I plan to do future tutorials. So please throw that out for me. It's very nice to know what's actually of help for people. I'm sort of guessing sometimes. So feel free to express that if it's desired. Okay, the third category of content that you can find on here are videos and music specifically for prayer. And the way that these differ from the instrument videos is Two ways. The first is that there's more visual content rather than me playing the instrument. There's a few where I have myself playing it on and off, but I've incorporated much more content such as, beautiful landscapes or beautiful churches or beautiful, Christian art and things like that to really help foster your imagination and help facilitate prayer in a little bit of a different way. I've also, paired the visual with the specific song, whatever that is. There's kind of a feel or a word for that particular song. And so to help communicate that as well, they're all kind of lined up together. It's very purposefully done. So that's the first way. The second way is that with most of the videos, I've also added some scripture to them, either at the beginning of the video, if it's just one song, or if it's multiple songs, usually I'll have a particular scripture for each one. So it just kind of depends on the video. There's different lengths for these. Some are just one song that's like 3 or 4 minutes. Others are whole albums or, several movements for a piano improvisation, for example. And those can be anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour, hour and a half long. Just kind of depends. So take a look at that if that's something that you like to pray with and that you think would be a beautiful accompaniment for you. So that is, in general, what you can find on the YouTube page. Sometimes I'll put in the post or the community tab different things like, which Lyre tutorial would you like for me to do next? And you're welcome to vote for that. Little announcements I might put there. But in general, that's the overall scope of the YouTube channel. Besides the YouTube channel, there are other places to access music albums and sheet music. So for all the compositions, and I'm working slowly on some of the piano improvisations, but for all of the whistle and all of the lyre compositions, there is sheet music available. These have both your traditional notation, and then there's a copy for each song that has the tab written as well. For the whistle, it's the dotted tab. For the lyre, it is the letter of the note along with the octave number. So if you want to know more about that, I'm happy to explain that a little bit more, give you some examples. But if you go to my home website, which I'll include in the description, you will find links to all of this through that. It'll send you to other places. That was kind of the best way for me to organize it, I found. But the homepage will get you to all of that. Know that when you purchase something, again, either sheet music or a music album, that's the best way to support the work that I do here. The vast majority of that money that you're actually paying does actually go to me, unlike in some other platforms. Know that I don't get paid for anything on YouTube, and so if you're listening to something that you enjoy and you'd like to support the work, or maybe you're listening to a lot of tutorials and you'd like to offer some extra support, you're welcome and invited to purchase the album, and you can download it and all that kind of stuff. It's available in all sorts of different formats. You can buy a single song, the whole album, sheet music that's digital, or a physical copy, all sorts of different things. So if you're looking for something and you're having trouble with it, just send me an email and I will give you direct links to everything that you're looking for. My hope, to sort of backtrack for a moment, with the YouTube, I'm not quite at a place, I need a little bit more watch time where I can control the advertisements. But my hope is, if I do reach that point, to be able to get rid of all advertisements such that I don't receive any financial support through that avenue. I'd like to keep it clean of that and offer a space free of advertising for you, if that's possible. I'd like to receive support only through purchases that actually, where you're getting something and really supporting very directly the work that I do. So just as a little bit of a side note there, that's my goal. We'll see if we get there, but that's my goal. So that's what you can find outside of the YouTube channel. Now, the last thing I want to speak about just a little bit more, which I haven't really done before, is what's my background and where did the name Enfolded Heart Music come from? So my background is primarily in piano. I took one-on-one lessons all throughout my childhood, from pre-K through high school, until I graduated. I took a little bit of lessons in college with a professional piano player, and then had to focus on some of my studies. But I don't have any training in college for music or anything like that. But all of my music theory knowledge, all of my capacity to read music, to be able to write sheet music, to be able to play on various instruments, all that is thanks to my piano teacher who stuck with me for many, many years. So that's where all my musical foundation comes from. I was in band for a number of years and things like that, but piano really was the primary place for me to learn all of these things that then allow me to write and to share with you as well. So I'm very grateful for that. My compositions started when I was in high school. It was just a natural, organic desire for me to write my own music and just to play and learn the piano in a different way, a more intimate way, and with a little bit more adventure, a little bit more wonder. And so I started doing those, and I played them for my piano teacher, and she just really encouraged me. I don't have any formal training, again, in composition. It really has come through my exploring whatever particular instrument I'm working with. So anyways, that's where that comes from. So piano, I play for church on Sundays. I really enjoy doing that. But most of what I have offered here so far, at least, is piano improvisation. I'm very comfortable with the instrument in a lot of ways and enjoy just allowing the Holy Spirit to touch and to move me as He desires, and allowing the instrument to express that as best as I'm capable of at this point. A few years ago, to switch to another instrument, I decided to purchase a lyre, and it was just an Amazon lyre, and I purchased it like many people do because it was affordable for me, and I just loved the sound of it. I thought it was very similar to the harp, so I was very ignorant into exactly what it is, even the history of it and all that. I really, really didn't know, but was really delighted to learn many things about it, how ancient of an instrument it is, and therefore it's the ancestor to, oh my goodness, so many instruments. And I just thought that was amazing. I thought it was such a beautiful connection to all the cultures and all the different people who have played some version of the lyre. There's many different versions of the lyre, but that was very beautiful. I loved the connection with King David and to the Psalms. It's one of the reasons I started singing and writing for the Psalms and more scriptural music. Of course, the lyre is very different, and my songs are very different than the style that David would have sung, but even the connection is really beautiful, and I thought that was very touching. I fell in love with the lyre in many different ways. At first, I was kind of frustrated. I didn't know how to hold it. I didn't know really how to play it. But as I began to sort of relax and just enjoy exploring it, it really became a great gift for me. A number of things I love about it. One is how soft it is, how gentle it is. It can be louder, it can be softer, but it's not an intrusive instrument. I think that's very beautiful. It calls for the listener, either the one playing it or the audience, to really be very quiet internally and externally to receive the beauty of the instrument. I love how direct it is to play the instrument. And many instruments are like this, but when I pull the string, that's it. Rather than, for example, the piano, where you have a key that then moves the hammer, which then hits the string. It's kind of removed from what it is, how the sound is actually being produced. So I love being able to really touch the strings and really have a lot of control over that, and to grow in my capacity to be very sensitive to the way that strings respond to my touch. I think that's very beautiful. And I also love the limitation of the lyre. I love how small it is, and I love the invitation to explore within a much more limited space and to discover and wonder in this place, and to be amazed by the beauty that can come from only 16 strings or 19 strings, or a diatonic instrument, which again is very different than I was used to. So that's many things that I love about it. And as I've, moved from the Amazon lyre to several of Brandon John's lyres, I've just really loved his work, loved exploring a more beautiful and more naturally made, a more complete instrument in a certain sense. I loved my whole journey for the lyre, but it's been a real gift to be able to play the beautiful lyres that he makes and to explore those. So that's a bit about the lyre. The whistle stuff, the whistle music, was a little bit of an add-on. I originally got it because I wanted to add a wind instrument to the lyre music. Now I'm working on that now, and hopefully those will continue to come and be out rather soon. I've done a couple of solo and duets with the whistles, but they also share a similar ancestral history where they're incredibly simple instruments and the basis of so many of our wind instruments now. So that's a beautiful thing for me to have realized, is that the lyre and the whistle are so ancient. even though they look very different. They've evolved and all that sort of stuff from what they were originally, but very basic, very simple instruments, very direct in that way. So having a wind instrument, being able to really shape each particular note, with dynamics or vibrato or whatever it is, has added a special touch to that. So it's not my main instrument, but it is so beautiful and has a wonderful, wonderful place. That's probably, I think, all I'll share on that end of things. If you'd like to know a little bit more about some of my journey, you're welcome to ask, and I'll share in a way that feels best and appropriate. I guess a final note I wanted to actually say too is that, as you probably guessed, the lyre and the whistle, both of those are self-taught for me. So piano is the only one I've received formal training on in any capacity. So if you have any questions about either of those, particularly the lyre, I get a lot of questions about the lyre, know that I'm happy to help you in whatever way I can, walk you through certain things, whatever it may be, but that it's coming from just me playing around with the instruments. I've certainly watched some videos and things like that, but most of it has come with just being curious about the instrument, playing with different sounds, and really approaching it as an adventure. So there are people who know much more about particularly the whistle and certainly the lyre as well than I myself know. It's one of the main reasons I haven't created any kind of classes or things like that, because I don't really feel qualified to do that. But I'm happy to help you in the way that I am qualified to, or with the knowledge that I do actually have. So just want to be totally transparent, make sure that's very clear that I don't have formal training, but I'm self-taught for those, and also that I'm very happy to share what knowledge I have received. Last thing and then we'll wrap up this video, is where did the name Enfolded Heart Music come from? There's kind of two parts to this. I'll say it very briefly, but in short, the first is just a reminder to myself that the only way that I really can offer beauty, the only way that I can remain at peace and joyful and full of wonder and truly be a child as Christ calls us to be, a beloved child of God, is to remain enfolded within the heart of Christ. And so enfolded heart refers to my own heart first, and then also to yours as well. All of us, of course. It came from experience, still comes from experience, and that I really cannot write something very beautiful unless I'm resting within Christ and receive what it is that He's giving, rather than, all the other things that can get in the way, the desire to impress, the desire to, be liked and have things received well, or, have it be purposeful by a whole bunch of people receiving it or something like that. So to enter into that identity as beloved, that trusting and faith-filled repose in the heart of Christ, and from that place, in that place, to offer all that it is that I try to offer here. Any music, any instructions, even any feedback or comments on responses to comments, things like that. So it's a reminder to myself to keep some perspective there. The second part of it is about you, and kind of the, you could say, mission statement or aim of the channel, and that is that I hope, as my subtitle says, original compositions for prayer and play, that the channel offers a space of prayer and play for you, that it acts as a kind of holding space for you, as I think all music does. It's one of the gifts of music, that it may facilitate prayer for you, that it may facilitate prayer whether you're listening or playing, and also foster an atmosphere of play, not a serious prayer in the way that sometimes we are tempted to pray, but really filled with faith, filled with trust, and really held by the music that I offer. So that's my goal, that's my intent, that's my desire, and it's my hope that it touches you in that way, and in many more. But it's a very broad word and purpose that I have, and I feel that I'm called to share, the reason I desire to share and feel called to share. So that's a little bit about Enfolded Heart Music, and why I've entitled it that way, and what you can expect from the channel, and all sorts of other things. So finally, a word of thanks to everyone who is watching this video, anyone who's watched videos on the channel or elsewhere. And I say this all the time, but I really mean it, that any more personal interaction with comments or emails is always invited. You're welcome to share or ask questions. YouTube is great in many, many ways, but one downside is that there's a lot of numbers and not always a lot of personal interaction. And so to have the personal be primary is always wonderful. And so you reaching out is a wonderful way to do that. So I appreciate that, and know that even if my responses are very similar, thank you so much, or I'm so delighted that you enjoy it. I just can't think of anything else to say, but I do mean it very, very uniquely and very specifically to the person who has put that there. So thank you very much. I do, read and respond to them. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions, you'd like any guidance on anything, you have any feedback, any suggestions, tips, things like that. You're welcome to reach out to me as well. And I'll, again, get back to you as soon as I can. So thank you so much. Again, a hearty welcome to Enfolded Heart Music. I hope you enjoy everything on here. God bless you, and may the peace of Christ be with you. Thank you again.